What we're going to do is walk into the evidence preparation and submission room. This is pinned open right now, but in order to access the room, an officer would use his fob, potentially, and we haven't set it up yet, and his thumbprint, a biometric thumbprint reader, and it would release the lock, and the officer would bring his evidence. This room here is the evidence preparation room. To my right over here is the desk that the officer will open up the system in. And what he's going to do, if it were an evidence submission, is we would assume that when he comes in, he will log in. Now, in the system, basically what we'll do is the officer would find the incident that he is working on. Let's just go right into this. And we're going to say the incident system, we're going to do this test number, we're looking for incident 2249. And now we're going to do the search. And in our search, this is the incident number associated with the police report. So what we do now is we show in this there are properties associated with this incident. So for instance, we will say I am going to add a new piece of evidence. Boom. So the new piece of evidence, I'm going to look up what the evidence is, and I'm going to go down here to this, and I'm going to say it's a drug, and up here at the top is a choice based on the National Crime Information Computer. I'm going to say it is a alcohol. Boom. Now with this, the system knows that I am going to be placing into evidence alcohol/drug. So with that, I'm going to go to the next, and then I'm going to add that. And the activity that I want to add is, now that it knows I'm going to print this off, it wants to know what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to put this in the evidence locker. All right, in the evidence locker, in back of me, we'll see this. The date I'm going to put it in, obviously today's the 22nd. Whoops, gotta check that again. 22nd. It says I'm going to put it in the evidence locker. So I'm going to go to save. And there it is. I'm finished. Now I'm saving it. And what's going to happen now in a minute, we're going to see a printed label come out over there. Now this label has a unique number assigned to it, and there's the number 1418, and it says alcohol. What would normally happen now, we would say this is a bottle of alcohol, I would put this label on it, and then I would come over here. This is our evidence pass-through system, and while we are in here, above your head is a camera. It's a high-definition camera that's recording our activities. So now I come over here, and there's a separate system here that tracks who's entering the evidence. So I enter my PIN, enter it, and what it's doing now is it's going to show me all lockers that are accessible, that are free. So if I wanted, I could come down and say, choose this locker. I have to hit the enter. I'm going to choose locker 002, 002, and it unlocks 002. Shows me which number it is. Put my alcohol in, close it. Over here it says it's waiting to lock. and it just locked. Now my evidence is locked in here with my unique information, and it's awaiting the evidence technician's removal. This is the face that the officers, this faces the officers, so the work officers are using, or the work amount that they're doing to enter the evidence is easier. So what we have now is a complete chain of custody and a breadcrumb trail right to the evidence room. This is the evidence room where all our evidence is stored. The people allowed in this would have, again, a fob, and potentially by 3 forms of identification we can change it around, would put their PIN number in, and then they could put their fingerprint in, and what it'll do is it'll release if they're authorized. So this door, being electronically controlled, releases when we come in our evidence room. Now we're in our evidence room, and what you see here in front of you, this is our evidence vault. This is surrounded by concrete, all 4 walls. The only access in is that one door. It's a climate-controlled room with cameras as well as sensors and antennas. The lights stay on all the time, and in this area here, this is where the evidence technicians come in and begin their work when they're starting to remove evidence from the lockers, store it, or remove it for court, or go to the labs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come over here. What my system is doing now is saying, okay, I'm looking for whatever was placed into the system. There are systems that are working separate but connected to this pad-track system, so we don't have a single point of failure. If somebody compromised one system, it can't affect a discrepancy on the other. So now when we look at this, what I'm hoping to find is alcohol. If you look at this screen at 1:59 p.m., that was placed in our room. And you see this alcohol? That is waiting for an RFID number. What I had said before to you was that unique number was going to be assigned to that, and I am going to go and get that evidence. We would come in here. Again, this is access controlled. Fob, fingerprint, release, come in. Now these doors are locked. You can't have both doors open. Either one side or the other is open. And here is my alcohol that I had placed in. Now, what happened as soon as I pulled this out, these readers just recognized that this tag number entered into the evidence vault. So what I'm going to do now, much like going to a hotel when you get a card key, they marry the key, the new key, with the technology embedded to this evidence. So I take this, come in, and if you look up here, up there, what I've done is I've selected this to have this remarried or married to this ticket. And what's going to happen, you see 1418, here's 1418, this ticket is now married to the alcohol. You can never duplicate this ticket. It's always going to be a unique number. So the system, and the way it's designed, it protects counterfeit numbers or labels. These, there's never going to be the same number. So if later on there's a need to reticket this, let's say the evidence package is compromised, we print a new label, and it gets its new number, and it's stored in the system so we know where it is. Now at this point, if you look at this, the alcohol number, that tag was just issued. Now what I want to do is select that, because what I want to do is move it. So I just selected this evidence, I married this alcohol, and now I want to move that in, all right? I want to put that in our evidence room somewhere. So I'm going to hit move in, and now it's going to say, where do you want to put this evidence back there? And I'm saying that this evidence, I'm going to put this where our firearms, or even I'll just say we'll go into the narcotics room. All right, so there's one box. I can choose where I want to put it in there. We haven't set up our system, and I'm going to say to this ticket, okay, I want to send this in. Now what this does is it puts down here pending move, and we can set times on that. So now we know that this evidence just doesn't sit around here. So we have a time period to move this in. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this evidence, and as I move by these readers, this alcohol is being hit by these readers. And we're going to put it in the evidence room. So now again, redundancy. This room knows I'm coming in at this point in time, and I do my biometrics. There's several layers to verify. The door is released, and I come into this room. When I come into this room, that reader and that reader recognized, oh, this just came in. So I put my alcohol down. You'll see there are other tags in here. Those are other items of evidence. They're all test evidence. So I put it in here. Again, over our head, cameras. Every single action inside this room is monitored. The room over and back is monitored. So when this door now is open and there's movement at the sensors, we come out, and now we walk down to our evidence. And what it shows now is that this description alcohol is moved and it was put into the vault. So I want to see the report. I want to look at this. This will show the property, what it is. I can show the movement of this. Now it showed the move. Everything is that I need is in there. So what we've done here is we have taken our evidence, placed it in a sentinel in an area where this system acts as a sentinel that's guarding the evidence. Now if I can't find my evidence and I know it's in there, I can set into this the case number or the tag number, and I can look for that information in here. And Geiger counts and it hits on it and it says, okay, here's your knife. So for what we've done in the past, if we couldn't find a piece of evidence, we'd have to manually go through every single file. And by the time we finished every file, we would end up 2.5 years into the process. We can do the whole room every day, 100%, potentially 220,000 pieces of evidence. So the system here has double, I guess you can say, accuracy. We have not only these antennas, the cameras, but we have the ability to segregate out and find pieces of evidence. So this, in essence, is the only system that we're aware of in the world with so many pieces of security redundancy, which equals integrity, so that if anyone is looking to challenge the chain of custody of our evidence, or look at the evidence chain and say, well, there are gaps, it's right down to the second the person is in these videos, as well as the PIN numbers, has been married to the evidence all the way through our system of finding it in the field and sending it off to court. So we're very proud of what we did. This work is very important. It assures that the constitutional rights of those accused, where there's evidence being held here, is intact, that there's no compromise to any of this. So that's our commitment to you.